This guy here is John Fanta. He's the Fox Sports insider with all things college basketball. He was the first one in America yesterday to nail the Danny Hurley story that he was not taking the Laker job. John, welcome to the program. Of course, you have Tim, you have Jacoby there as well. Congrats on having the story, obviously. First and foremost, are you surprised Hurley didn't take the job?
I'm not. I'm not because, as we talked about yesterday, he's a Northeast guy. Dan Hurley, the Jersey City roots are real. Bob Sr., his dad, that connection there. And this is a guy who, when you look at what the Lakers put on the table, a $70 million deal for 6 years, it's not as though UConn's going to be that far off when this gets all said and done.
Right.
He's happy. He's the face. He's the face of college basketball now with the back-to-back national championships. And, guys, he's got pictures of John Wooden in his office. He wants to.
That's real. That's not hyperbole. That's real.
No, that's real. He wants to. He's motivated by that idea that he could be mentioned in the same breath.
Yeah, well, look, Wooden's the last guy to win 3 in a row, obviously. He won, I think, 7 in a row or 8 out of 9. It was something stupid. Back when he had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and then Bill Walton back-to-back, which ain't bad. And that's when freshmen couldn't even play basketball, but that's getting in the weeds on it. To me, I'm a conspiracy theory guy. And I know one of the conspiracy theories out there is that the Lakers never had an interest in really hiring Danny Hurley, and you could defend that statement because of the offer you just alluded to. They offered him less than what Monty Williams makes in Detroit, right? So you're saying to yourself, if you really want to go get Danny Hurley, 7 years of $105, and now we're in the ballpark, right? So the conspiracy theory is they want to hire J.J. Redick. But J.J. Redick has never coached before. So dangle out the notion that you're going after the number one coach in the college ranks. Oh, we couldn't get him. Shucks. And now we go to J.J. Redick. Any truth to that, in your opinion?
I think that there's always truth to some of these situations. But I do think that Dan Hurley and his wife, Andrea, they considered this. They were looking hard at what this potentially would look like. He's wanted to go in the NBA. That's the difference with this one, guys, is this is not something that was totally on the blue. He's told his players, and I heard him tell people over the weekend, every time I recruit my players, I tell them I want to be an NBA coach.
So the players are aware that there might be the day they wake up and their coach is gone.
But now his recruiting pitch will be, I turned down reportedly $100 million from Kentucky and turned down the Lakers in the same offseason.
Right.
Now come
Which
play
just
for me.
means if I'm a player, I better do everything that dude says because he's going to yell and scream at me even more. And look, one of the other conspiracy, I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory or the projections out there, is that there will be a day when Danny does go to the NBA. And the team that he will go to will be the New York Knicks. That it keeps him in the New York area, even closer to Jersey City, obviously where the Hurley family was raised and grew up. And there will come a time, whether he wins his 3rd consecutive title or not, where there will be that $100 million offer to go to the pros.
I agree, but I also think the other thing here is this. Control. Control is the word of the hour for this decision.
Yes.
With the Los Angeles Lakers, there's no guarantee what degree of control they tell you you're going to have even comes to fruition, even half of that, right?
Exactly.
And the other point is, at UConn, when we look at the other option, you're king of the hill. Mm-hmm. You have total control. You have so much control that the governor of the state, a state that they're in debt. I mean, they're in debt.
Well, they just got, they've legalized gambling. They'll be out of debt soon enough.
But a state that yesterday their governor says we will make him the highest paid college coach. Now, if you're making him the highest paid college coach, Bill Self just got a 5-year, $53 million deal and made $13 million this past year. So it's on him now to make that happen. Control is the word. With the Lakers, there's no guarantee.
Let me tell you a great story about Danny Hurley I was told yesterday. Like many colleges, and Tim, you know this, Jacob, you know it as well, you're only as successful as your biggest boosters are. So like St. John's is Mike Rapoli, vitamin water billionaire. And that's why Rick Pitino's there, and they will get some better players now because he's willing to write the check. So I was talking to a guy who's one of their top boosters yesterday. And part of being a booster, it's a vanity purchase. You don't get a return on your money. You just get to sit on the wood, and you get to hobnob with the AD and the coach. And, if they do make a run, you're invited to sit there, right? Because you don't get any money back for it. And I was talking to this guy literally yesterday because he's one of their biggest donors. And he said part of being a donor is that he was given the opportunity to basically spend an afternoon golfing with Danny Hurley or just hanging out with Danny. and it was like a 6-hour day. And about an hour into the day, and this just happened like a few months ago, Danny Hurley says to the guy, I hate this. I don't want to sit with you. I have no interest in talking to you. I don't want to be with you. I just know that they make me do it.
Have you ever said that to someone?
Yes, Tim.
Yeah, he does.
Now I know why I'm sitting between you two.
Yeah, exactly right. And to me, that's like so on brand for who Danny Hurley is, where he would say to a guy that's basically allowing them to compete if they choose to for players that I hate the fact I have to do this.
Yes, but you take a number in a deli line in college basketball right now. There's 363 coaches who don't like the current climate of the sport. The sport needs fixing in that regard. There's got to be contracts in place down the road because right now it's not professional sports. It's not. College football and college basketball are not pro sports. It's beyond that. It's wilder than that.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing keeping a player from saying, where can I get more? There's got to be something in place. But by the same token, Dan Hurley is in a league where he has an advantage. The Big East, you well know.
It's not what it was.
It's not what it was. But UConn is what they've been.
Yes.
And they are a state school.
Right.
At the end of the day, St. John's, Villanova, Georgetown, Providence, those schools, they're still private institutions. They can't just dip into some state budget and do what UConn is going to be able
Rutgers
to do
has
with
a
it.
similar thing in New Jersey where they had arguably the best recruiting class this year. Got Ron Harper's kid to go play there. But they debated all the time, why is Greg Schiano on the football side? Why is Peichel on the basketball side making so much money? They're essentially state employees. And I can tell you this, on the UConn side, right now, they are $600,000 over their budget for NIL money. And they're defending champions back-to-back, going for number 3, meaning somebody's going to write that check, no problem.
Somebody's going to write that check because when you are where UConn is positionally, you are a blue blood. And you have the Northeast advantage. They have a recruiting advantage in every room they go into right now. They've won.
Yep.
They have the resources. They're in heaven.
All right, let's flip the script. Tim, I want you to get into this with John as well. I know you're a college basketball guy, but in doing your job, you also obviously have to pay attention to the NBA. Do the Lakers just go J.J. Redick now? Is there egg on their face? Because one of the narratives out there is that this is an embarrassing moment for a once proud franchise that they essentially publicly went after a guy and didn't get the guy. That's beneath Laker basketball.
You know what? I don't think is really like scrutiny on them. I just think they didn't go about it the right way. If you really want to go after a guy and you really want him, you had to put more money on the table.
I agree.
You got to put more money on the table to have him be enticed, especially in California. With the Los Angeles Lakers dealing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and I think that they understood the control that he wanted to have, but they just didn't put the money down on the table to have him come there.
Which to me is why put yourself in that spot? Go, John.
Two things on this. Number one, James Borrego, former Hornets head coach, will interview with the Cleveland Cavaliers today. The Cavs are enamored with him. We'll see how those interviews go because if he doesn't end up in Cleveland, he's obviously a candidate in Los Angeles. Let me play devil's advocate with you for a moment. Did the Lakers talk to Dan Hurley to justify then selecting J.J. Redick? To say
That's
to people,
the conspiracy
to say
theory.
to people that we at least went through the process to get to a guy who has not coached, but this is who we end up believing in.
Yeah, well, that's the conspiracy theory, and it makes sense because I know JJ's LeBron's guy now, the podcast and all that, but the Lakers are still one of the Tiffany brands in the NBA, despite the fact that they're not a very good team right now and a playing team and missing playoffs and all that jazz that we talk about all the time. They're still the Lakers. They're still Magic Johnson and Kareem, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and the late Jerry Buss. So the fact that they went after a guy and offered him the contract that would have made him the 6th highest paid coach and didn't back up the Brinks truck, and the guy said no. Not only said no, couldn't have left LA faster to get back to that Billy Joel concert at Madison Square Garden. To me, that's embarrassing for the LA Lakers.
I don't think it's embarrassing.
Well, you're wrong, Tim.
If I don't agree with you, I'm wrong.
This one you're wrong.
I just don't think that it is embarrassing. I just think that he took a long, hard look and said, you know what? I'm good where I'm at. I'm king where I'm at. The money is similar. It's similar.
Yep.
You know, and my wife is, and I believe it's really on his wife. And his wife said, you know, if the money was a little bit better.
Timmy, I can tell you the fact he originally didn't want to go to Connecticut.
I know, but I'm just saying, you know, his wife is really, he loves his wife and he loves making his wife happy.
Sure.
And his family happy. And, you know, being around his dad and his mom, you know, is also a big thing here, too. So, I mean, like you said, he got great ties here, around here. Even though he's in Connecticut, he got great ties here. That's a long way.
Go ahead, John.
A long way.
The parents, Bob Sr. and his wife, they've been in the same Jersey City residence for years, for decades. Not that they couldn't have moved, not that there wouldn't have been enough money, but that would have been a big change if then
big jump.
Bob Sr. is a fixture at these games. I mean, if you were watching the Big East tournament or the NCAA tournament, he is smack dab in the middle. So this is a situation where Dan Hurley's also been outspoken about the mental health battles that he has had. At Seton Hall, he was going through a low time when he was playing college ball. Andrea saved his life. His wife saved his life. He brings that up. Now, do you really want to mess with what is complete happiness as the face of a sport?
Yeah, like I said, she didn't want to go up to Connecticut. This is as much a New York City and New Jersey family as there is. One last thing, John, since we have you here. You know, one of the names that came out, and I do think this guy will coach again at some point, is the great former Villanova and Hofstra here in New York City head coach, Jay Wright, who's doing a very good job on TV now. Jay Wright, to me, there's no adage about coaches. Coach is coach.
Right.
Because it's in their blood. At some point, you got to get back and coach again. Do you think Jay Wright is a potential dark horse candidate for the Laker job? And if not there, could you see a Jay Wright coming back into the college game soon?
So this is the first time I'm in studio on this show, right, guys?
Maybe the last. Let's
see how this method works. I buy your take that the New York Jets can be Super Bowl contenders.
You're coming back.
And that's coming from a Clevelander here. That being said, I vehemently disagree that Jay Wright will ever coach again. Jay Wright loves life calling college basketball games. He loves life on the road with our buddy Bill Raftery.
Yep.
He's got it made in the booth. He genuinely enjoys that. If he still wanted to coach, he'd be at Villanova.
I was going to say the same thing. He looks very comfortable in the booth. He loves what he's doing. He loves talking about the game. He does a great job.
He's a coach. Coach is coach.
But you know what? He's happy where he's at. He don't have to deal with the day-to-day trying to, in college, I got to get this guy to play. I got to get that guy to play. At Villanova, he had it great at Villanova. Now he got to go somewhere and get it started all over again.
Well, the Kentucky gig would have been the perfect gig for him.
No, he's fine.
It would have.
He's fine.
Because Kentucky would have given him $10 million a year.
You know what? But he still had to deal with all the nuances and going out with the boosters. Don Haskins told us this all the time. He said, fellas, I hate going to golf with the boosters. I hate going to eat lunch with the boosters.
Yeah.
I hate just talking to them and being around them and this and that, because he said, I think it's some hogwash, but I have to do it.
It's part of the gig.
It's part of
Well, I'll tell you what, then you better tell Jay Wright to stay away from Bill Raftery, because all Bill does is throw him back and play golf. I've done it with him, and I can tell you, I can hold my own.
But that's only one person.
I can't hold my own.
That's only one person.
Tim, I ain't lying. Like, if you want to see, like, what kind of man you are in that game, spend an afternoon with Bill Raftery. I promise you, you will lose, as I did. Many. He's like, where are you going? I'm like,
it's time to go.
You want to spend an afternoon with Bill Raftery? It's a never-ending afternoon.
Yeah, it is. He's America's favorite house guest.
I have a friend like that. He's like, come with me. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
You're good. Well, that was Dennis Rodman, though. So totally understand.
No, a friend in Chicago. He has everybody like, let's go with me. Everybody like, no.
Now, John.
We'll meet you there.
Well, yes, own car, own transportation.
Right.
One of the things that came out of yesterday's appearance, obviously you did a great job, enough for us to have you back, is we acknowledged we acknowledged yesterday that you, my friend, actually, you've got some games. You've got some games. So you dunk. The question now is, can you make a free throw?
Can you shoot?
That's the question.
Make it tough.
He's gonna make a free throw, and you holding it.
I got 2 balls.
Two shots.
Yeah, so does Tim.
Make your free throws, kid.
Two-shot foul.
Make your free throws, kid.
All right, make your free
What
throws.
was your free throw percentage?
Yeah, not good.
81.
81?
That's pretty low, Tim.
You're in the Hall of Fame with that?
I would expect you better.
81. 80.
Yeah, I stepped up to the line and made mine. I made. I mean, 81 is
Next
good.
commercial break's gonna be interesting.
No, but at last 2 minutes of the game,
Yeah.
at least 97.
That's what I'm talking about.
Here we
All
go.
right, here we go.
Make your free
I
throws.
like it.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yes.
1 for 1.
2 for 2.
That's
That's my guy right there.
100%. We got moving rims now.
No, I don't know what you're talking about, Tim. I don't know what you're talking about, Tim.
Oh, it's like Tim. Show him what it's like,
Now I'm
Tim.
gonna just dunk it.
He'll move the rim for you.
I know that. See, I'm high.
He's not. He knows exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, he knows what's going to happen.
Anyhow, John, appreciate you coming by.
Yes, sir.
Good insight. And just real quick before we do let you go, as you were reporting things, did Danny or anyone at UConn reach out to you and say, slow your roll, buddy, we'll let you know what happens?
That's all. That's always something that you're looking at when you're reporting on these things. This was a fluid situation.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a practice block from noon to 4. They ended up practicing at 2 o'clock. You got all kinds of things. I mean, I will say that this was not something that was certain on Saturday, on Sunday. It wasn't like, yeah, he's definitely staying. He's definitely staying. There were people in NBA circles who thought that he was taking this job. To his credit, he kept this extremely close to the vest.
Yeah,
But
he
his
sure
friends
did.
kept it even closer.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
He knows he's got people he can trust in his life. That's for damn sure.
Yes.
That's John Fanta, everybody, a college basketball insider for Fox.
John.
And I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of him come the fall when college basketball ramps up again. Good job, John. Thanks for having me here. Hey there. Thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.